Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 255. When we last left our heroes, the doppelgangers were wreaking havoc through Tokyo. The Cataclysm was just kind of fucking with everyone. But Joker and Licht kind of put together that the fire is being fueled by the despair, by the image of death in flame that the evangelist has put into humanity since the dawn of time, and that the way to stop it is with the opposite of despair, being hope, and that Obi is the best person to kind of be the symbol of hope for the population. Meanwhile, Arthur calls to Vulcan that they're going to need something back at the Company 8 HQ for the coming rematch with Dragon, and Dragon heads back towards Earth for that rematch as well. So with all of that out of the way, let's jump right on into Chapter 255, The Seventh Pillar, which has nothing to do with anything I just said. And our picture here is like a storm cloud with a face on it, shooting lightning into the sea. We got a tornado, like the firestorm. Just general scenes of destruction. Is there any hope left for this scorching planet? And we open with an image of the Soul Eater moon, Madness. And then we see the eye structure staring down at Tokyo, Despair. And then we see Victor thinking to himself, how the hell could I possibly understand the structure of our world at this stage? Wait, what? Is there something going on that's teaching Victor this? And then we cut back to Company 4. As one of the, or is this actually, one second before I move on, is this bit right here kind of the despair seeping into Victor? It's not implying that there's something manipulating Victor. It's instead implying that Victor is sort of losing hope. I don't know, we'll see. One of Pan's soldiers called out to him, Captain Pan, there are firestorms developing all over the place. Doppelgangers are cropping up too. And Pan calls out, the safety of the townspeople is your highest priority. Pan thinks, at a hopeless time like this, what should the fourth do? And we see what looks like a cafe that's kind of like an umbrella, a cafe sign, a potted plant, an air conditioning unit, are all kind of, I think, getting sucked up into a firestorm. We see everything is just going to hell. Everything is getting sucked into the firestorms. The buildings are crumbling. All citizens, please evacuate this way. And then we cut to somewhere on the shore. Captain Honda has been located. I repeat, Captain Honda has been located. So I guess he's been missing since the fight with Raffles. Right? He took part in that, I'm pretty sure. He probably launched himself at Raffles. Yeah, because then he like hit the wheel and just kind of like plunk off of it. So he's finally back. And Honda tells one of his men, give me a status update. As a result of a cataclysm of immeasurable proportions, the whole empire is in chaos. As you can see, the situation is bleak. And Honda looks up and he stares at the eye. Which, yeah, tells you how bleak the situation is. And he says, what's happening to the world? And we hear someone else calling in the distance, it's all over for us. And we see Honda's thoughts. It's hopeless to try to recover the Empire now. And then we see Hoyan and Kareem and Hibana. I want to call attention to both Pan and Honda using the word hopeless. Especially given what happened in 254, with the whole thing being about don't lose hope. I'm expecting this to be a segment that leads into Vulcan having finished his radio, and Obi giving the message to the world, don't lose hope, hope is how we win. But we'll see. We also still have to deal with the seventh pillar, as the title of the chapter tells us. Anyways, hopeless to try to recover the Empire now. We have Hoyana and Kareem, like I said, and Hibana, and then, Kyoko? Was that her name? The leader of Company 6? There's too many casualties. This is an emergency. We don't have capacity for any more patients. And we see the firestorms and, they're now strong enough to pick up even, trucks. along with like tree branches and signs and all kinds of just detritus, all leading up towards that eye. And we see Pon again. It's like Captain Hogg said. Even though we're fire soldiers, we're powerless to stop this. Is there anything left that we can do? And just then, a Company 4 soldier walks up to Pon. Captain Pon, we're receiving a transmission for the entire fire force. Yeah, here it is. I was right. And Pon tells him, patch me in, now. And then we cut back to, like I was predicting, Obi and Vulcan. Thanks for your help, Vulcan. Anytime. And Obi starts. This is Captain Akitaru Obi of Special Fire Force Company 8. What I'm about to say may sound absurd, but I need you to believe me. There is a way to stop the Cataclysm. And everyone listens in. We see Honda and Juggernaut, Hibana and Kishiri, Hoyan and Kareem, Kyoko, Pon and Kareen, all listening in on to Obi's speech. The fuel for the fire that's consuming this planet is humans' despair. The only thing we can do to extinguish the flames is drown out despair and bring hope to the citizens of the Empire. Now is the time for the Special Fire Force to be exemplars for the people. There's still hope left. Don't lose hope. And so yeah, Obi leaves off with the line he gave us last week, echoed out to the entire Fire Force. I wish all companies the best of luck. And now, it's time to get to the titular plot line, as we cut to Adola. And we see Sumire, who is hanging upside down from the flames, as she says, how deplorable. There are still people who won't succumb to despair. Even when the world's engulfed in flames. We see her, she's kind of in a bit more of a... I think it might just be more of the camera flipping, because she's right side up now. It's coming back to me. The previous great cataclysm. 250 years ago, in a world that looked completely different from this. Are we going to see more real people? Yeah, we are. Okay, I want this to get animated so bad. Before the great cataclysm, I went by the name of Sumire Sugita. I served the evangelist 250 years ago in 20XX, and she showed me the necessity of instigating the great cataclysm. And we see Sumire, who looks basically like I kind of figure Sumire would look in live action. Kind of older. Well, she looks kind of maybe in her 60s in the anime. Here she looks like she's maybe in her 40s. But okay. And we see her, like, walking down the hallway. At last it began. The preparations were complete. The great cataclysm was imminent. We were ready to rewrite the rules of the world. So what makes Sumire really interesting, then, is that she's kind of experienced the jump from live action to anime. I don't know, I'm curious what that does to a person. We're ready to rewrite the rules of the world. On this planet, there have been many cataclysms over the years. The very birth of intelligent life in this world was due to a great cataclysm from long, long ago. One sec. Humans, the peak of intelligent life, were born, and their collective unconscious consented upon a single decree, the same of which the stars and all life reaches in its conclusion. They wished for death. The end point of life's evolution is extinction, after all. And then Sumire says out loud, the driving force behind converting this planet into a sun and destroying everything via the final great cataclysm, and she looks up, is despair. Honestly, there's just something so creepy about Sumire. And there is an anime in the 2D style, but it's even more apparent here. She's just uncomfortable looking. And we see she's like doing these poses in like a white background. There's no such thing as a human with an independent will. All is swept up in that of religion or government. Throughout the ages, even if humans have thought they made decisions of their own free will, in the end, the target of their worship has simply changed, nothing more. Today's humans believe in TV and the internet like religion. They're being swept along mindlessly by the fads they see. It seems to actually be the same pose we're just seeing from a bunch of different angles. I'm curious what the pose means. It looks kind of like her arms at least look like a fighting stance, but she's not dressed to fight, and she's very off balance for a fight. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. You people worship tons of meaningless opinions on social networks, getting swept up in trends and rumors without ever stopping to think for yourselves. And we see the furigana used for meaningless opinions on that last line is collective unconscious, which ties it into the collective unconscious, what she's talking about. Shall we proceed? And then she gets up and she walks over somewhere. This country has many atheistic people and thus no spiritual root. This makes it easy for the collective unconscious to develop and flow throughout the people. Because of that, the evangelist chose Japan. It was an easy country to instill the evangelist's guidance and become the source of a planet-destroying cataclysm. Okay, I'm kind of curious about that. So the lack of spiritual root makes it easy for the collective unconscious to develop, which is kind of weird, because the evangelist's whole thing from the get-go has been using the church, and as it has been implied in the past, other religions in the old world kind of guided by the evangelist. And so why, if the collective unconscious develops easily and is easy to manipulate in a culture without religion, why focus on religion, right? I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but this is, I mean, we're just getting a lot of info here, so maybe in like a couple of days when it's all swept over me and I've kind of like picked at it again, it'll make a lot more sense. But anyway, let's continue. If you take a quick peek at social media, you'll quickly notice people being swept up by perpetuating trends, hoaxes, and meaningless booms. They swarm around whatever's popular like bugs. Oh, well, I know where this is going. If you look at your phone screen, you can see them too. Look at all of these bugs. There's one over here, and over there, and here, and here. It's hard to imagine that these intelligent life forms have evolved from past cataclysms. But if we can somehow get enough of these brainless bugs, then our preparations will be ready. Okay, so that's interesting. So if this is tied to the creation of the Dolba bugs, as I was kind of implying on the last page, then so the bugs are people who are swept up in popular trends, is what I think she's saying. That because they're swept up by popular trends, they have so little impact on the collective unconscious that they don't even have doppelgangers, is my guess. This part is pure speculation. And so because without doppelgangers, they can't become infernals, and so instead of infernalizing, they become bugs. Maybe. That right there was a huge stretch, and I could completely be wrong there, but that's my working theory right now. So if we can somehow get enough of these brainless bugs, our preparations will be ready. And then we have a panel of her with this kind of, it's supposed to be like a goofy smile, but it looks kind of creepy. And finding brainless fuel for the fire is the easy part. Only 2 cataclysms remain before the extinction of mankind. There's an interesting thing, because my interpretation was, and I think Sumire said this back during the Return to St. Raffles arc, is that the last Cataclysm was supposed to work, and it failed. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. But then the past Sumire is saying there are going to be 2. Could possibly what Sumire says on page 12 about it's coming back to me imply that her memories were lost of the old world? That would help her kind of stay sane between the 2D and the 3D worlds. I don't know. And then we just see her standing there, arms at her side. We keep getting all of these shots of her, just like in various poses. I feel like they're significant, but I don't know why. Just standing there with arms at her side, and then we see her with this real creepy grin, So shall we head towards a significant checkpoint on the path to destruction? And then we see her again, her arms like kind of folded like this in front of her. For with this cataclysm, the planet will become a world of flames and spontaneous human combustion, wouldn't you agree? And then we see her with this kind of like weird face, and then she smiles again, kind of a more scrunched up face, as the chapter ends. After 250 years have passed, the white-clad scheme is finally fulfilled. The cataclysm that threatens to rewrite the rules of the world and bring about its destruction continues. On this violent planet, despair continues to be on the attack. To be continued in chapter 256, The Elusive Reunion. Okay, this was a weird one. And it's weird in a different way than its most immediate predecessor, like 216, which also did the 3D thing. With 216's 3D thing, the weirdness was just how fucking out there it was. How completely out of left field the whole twist was. But here, it's just, there's something in the way it's structured that's just so odd. Like, there's just all of these shots of her just standing in poses. And like, I'm kind of thinking maybe it's a commentary on just like how in manga, the mangaka won't always, on like tiny panels like these, won't always draw the full background and will just have them stand in a white space. Like, maybe? Possibly? But that wouldn't explain the pose on page 17. That's just so weird. I don't know. I want to credit whoever plays Sumire. She's just so unassumingly creepy. She really does pull it off. And I don't know if... I mean, I'm assuming Okubo hired this woman, and then had someone take these pictures, which I guess would make this chapter much quicker to draw. But what I don't know is if he designed Sumire before or after he hired her. I don't remember if we get a good look at Sumire back in Hibana's flashbacks. If we do, then I'm going to say no. And he just found a real good stroke of luck in finding someone who looked kind of just like a 3D Sumire. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to kind of pick at in the back half of this chapter. So much so that I could probably spend the rest of the video talking about it and never even get to the first part. But to be fair, the first part isn't too complex. It's largely just seeing it's a kind of standard genre moment as everyone kind of falls into despair, and then Obi shows up with, don't lose hope. Which, like I said last time, easier said than done. And we importantly don't really see any of their reactions to what he says, as we immediately move to Sumire. Which again is so weird. And I don't know. I'm trying to, it's definitely getting themes of, a kind of gullibility of the modern world, I guess, of, the people who get swept up in trends and social media and are, as insignificant to the collective unconscious as bugs, which sure is something. And then, I don't know, there's just, I'm looking at this last page right now, and it's so, normally the last page of a chapter is either, a resolution or a cliffhanger. And this is very much neither. It feels like a page that could be cut entirely. Of just her kind of grinning at the camera weirdly. And I feel like that's going to come up somehow. I feel like this page, for some reason, is going to be important. and for the life of me, I can't figure out how. I don't know. I can't figure out what's up with the poses. Ah, God, this is just so weird. And, like, I don't, like, it could be there's nothing up with the poses and I'm thinking too hard about it. But they're placed there so deliberately. I feel like there has to be something they're doing, especially the, like, battle pose is just so weird. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm kind of circling now. I just don't know. There's definitely something Okubo is getting at. And I'm hoping either a couple of days to think about this chapter or next chapter will help kind of clarify what's going on here. Because right now, I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on right now. I mean, I know what's going on physically. A description of how the worlds of the first great cataclysm. But I don't know where Okubo is going with this. I don't know. We're gonna be along for the ride, and honestly, I don't fucking know. I just do not fucking know right now. But yeah, that's really all I have to say for this chapter. Hope y'all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, remember, 1 second, remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!